Hi everyone. I need to preface this video with a statement. I support TYT. Okay, I think 90% plus of what they do is excellent. They cover stories that the mainstream media in America just ignore. But when it comes to a certain subject, and we know that I'm talking about Russia here, I think their coverage has been not much better than CNN's, to be quite honest. It's way better than MSNBC's. I don't think it's that bad, but because MSNBC, that's all they talk about. But when it comes to the Russia investigation, I think their coverage has been terrible. I think they ignore massive key pieces of the puzzle. They just ignore it. They don't tell their viewers about it. So I want to make sure that this is not an attack on TYT. This video is not an attack on TYT. However, I do think it is curious that when I headed over to their YouTube channel this morning and did a quick search for a certain keyword, I didn't find much in the last few months. So here's TYT's website on YouTube. As you can see there, 4 million subscribers. But if you type in Assange and get into the search bar, just look. You see there, Ecuador turns off Assange's internet. So they covered, this was a year ago when they turned it off last time for a few weeks. And you can see there, 5 years ago, 1 year ago, 1 year ago, a year ago, they actually covered the Seth Rich stuff 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 6, 5, 7. So they've covered him plenty in the past, Julian Assange. Plenty of times they've covered him. They know who Julian Assange is, obviously supportive of him. Why is it that there's nothing in the last, I don't know, 10 months? Strange, isn't it? It's really strange, I think that is, especially as, let's face it, Julian Assange has been kept in isolation now for the last 100 days. It's torture. That's what it is. It's torture, what they're doing. They've cut off his internet. They've cut off his access to outside people. They are trying to extradite him on bogus. They're trying to arrest him on bogus charges for a start. And then they want to extradite him to the US on just trumped up charges. Why aren't TYT covering this? Why not? I mean, it's not as if Cenk doesn't like Assange and doesn't support him. He does support him. This is from one of the videos. I'll put the date on the clip so you know when it was from. Just listen to what he said.
So there's a Showtime show called The Circus. Mark Halperin's in it, unfortunately. And Mark McKinnon is co-creator and executive producer. I like Mark McKinnon. And he worked for George W. Bush, but he's a rare, honest Republican. And they went to go stake out Julian Assange. Halperin tried to talk to him. And then McKinnon's on Morning Joe, and he's going to talk to the crew about Julian Assange. You're going to hear it in a second, too, but he called him a brilliant, paranoid guy. I don't think you can really call someone paranoid when the whole world is kind of out to get them. So it makes it sound like he's conspiratorial. But he's in the embassy of Ecuador for the last 5 years, basically in a de facto prison, because the United States government is out to get him. That's a fact. That doesn't make him paranoid, that makes him correct.
So he knows the United States government is out to get him. Why isn't he covering this story? I think it's fair to say right now, with the rumours flying around for over a week now. It's not like this happened on Friday and they haven't had a chance to put anything out there to their viewers. But it's been we've heard the Times article that came out 8 days ago saying that he's going to be handed over soon. They didn't cover it at all last week by the look of it. And they haven't covered the fact that, he's been essentially tortured right now for over 100 days. They haven't covered that at all. Doesn't look like it anyway if you're doing a search for Assange on their site. So why is that? I'll get to that in a bit, But people are going to start questioning why. Cenk is obviously a big supporter of WikiLeaks, as you heard there. In fact, let's show another clip about him. I've got another clip lined up. Here's Cenk on WikiLeaks, and this is going back to when his internet was cut off last year for a few weeks. Just listen to what they said.
Is true. Ecuador, in accordance with its tradition of defending human rights and protecting the victims of political persecution, reaffirms the asylum that they granted to him and reiterates its intention to safeguard his life and physical integrity until he reaches a safe place. Ecuador's foreign policy responds to sovereign decisions alone and does not yield to pressure from other states, which is shorthand for we either were not influenced by or will not cop to being influenced by John Kerry or any other representative of the U.S. government in shutting down his access to the internet.
I don't believe that. Okay, so
there might have been some influence.
I don't believe.
Okay, now, number one, I'm a big supporter of WikiLeaks, and I've interviewed Julian Assange. She's interviewed me, but that doesn't. But the reason we have that relationship is because I'm a big supporter of WikiLeaks, and I believe that some of the information that they've leaked about the U.S. government is paramount. I think the witch hunt against Julian Assange is insane. He should never be in that embassy in the first place.
So he doesn't believe. He knows that the American government and the UK government have been putting pressure on Ecuador to take back Julian Assange's asylum. He knows that. He said, I don't believe them, when they said that they're not doing that. And he said that he's a big supporter of WikiLeaks, big supporter of Julian Assange. Why the silence over the last few months then? I think it's fair to say this is one of the biggest stories on the planet for progressives right now. And there's a bigger story here than just Julian Assange, and I've pointed this out many times. This is an assault on First Amendment rights in America. It's plain as day. Glenn Greenwald, in that article in The Intercept, he's nailed it. Every news organisation should be, right now in America, jumping up and down and screaming about this. Especially ones with a big platform, a massive platform, 4 million subscribers rather, like TYT. Why aren't they covering it? No, there's lots of people out there who are going to put 2 and 2 together on this. And they're going to bring up this $20 million investment. But the thing is, since they've had that investment, how many times have they covered this Julian Assange and WikiLeaks? How many times? Other than, as part of this Russia investigation. How many times? Let's say in the last 3 months, how many times has he done videos about Julian Assange and coming out in support of Julian Assange? And said, this is an attack on our First Amendment rights. This is a slippery slope. He'll talk about the Donald Trump being a fascist and the slide of America into fascism all the time. Is there a clearer example of this? They will probably bring up the fact that, the FBI have accused WikiLeaks of conspiring with Guccifer. It's rubbish. And the fact that Cenk isn't and hasn't interviewed Bill Binney or talked about VIPs and their findings and analysed it, they haven't talked about that at all. It just says to me they're not being honest here. Let's go back to when Cenk and TYT had that 20 million investment. This is what he said.
And guys, the most important thing of all is that the proof is always in the pudding. So we've been around for 15 years, and how do we get this big? Well, because we proved it over and over again that we mean what we say. And if we didn't, and if you're like a fake news outlet, and there was all these fake news outlets during the elections, they're gone. Because you can't, I know some on the right do practice deception for a fairly long period of time, but all the fake news outlets were immediately wiped away. You have to earn people's trust. And I think and I hope that we've been doing that for 15 years for you guys. But every single day, we gotta earn it again. So judge us on our product, on our videos, on what we say, the message that we put out there, and how we fight for you. And if you think we're not fighting for you, then get rid of us and go find someone else who will. And by the way, of course we're not for everybody, and I understand that. But if you've been with us this whole time, you should be thrilled at what's happened here. Because you know what we're gonna do now? We're gonna go on the offense. So if they think that we were tough on the establishment before, Wait till you get a load of us now.
Judge us on our products, judge us on our videos, judge us what we say, and judge us what your message is. What about what you don't say? What about the fact that you haven't covered VIPs? What about the fact that you haven't talked to Bill Binney and studied their findings, which have yet to be refuted? What about the fact that you haven't done that? What about the fact that you've been deadly silent on the fact that Julian Assange is being tortured right now? He's being treated inhumanely. That's not my words. That is the United Nations Human Rights Council, I think it was. Why aren't you talking about the fact that this is against international law? News organisations bring that up all the time. Oh, it's against international law. Why not now? This is against international law. Why the silence? You can see here, right? I'm not being a conspiracy theorist here, and I'm not saying that this is the case at all. But what I am doing is highlighting the fact that other people are going to be asking this question, and other people are going to be putting two and two together. Now you'll say, oh, they're getting 5 or 6 or 727, but they think they're getting 4. And to be honest, I think they've got a case. It is strange how TYT have been deadly silent on this issue over the last few months. If they have done segments and it's not on their website, and not on YouTube, please let me know. But it certainly doesn't look like they're that interested in it, to be honest. It certainly doesn't look like they want to protect First Amendment rights in America, which this is what this whole story is. It's an attack on First Amendment rights. I mean, I fully don't expect MSNBC or CNN or Fox to be covering this, or New York Times or the Washington Post. But the self-proclaimed home of progressives, don't you think they should be jumping up and down and all over this, and should have been for the last week? Don't you think they should be informing their viewers that this could be the death of free speech in America? Don't you think that? I do. And I'm pretty sure that the people watching this, the majority of them will think that too. So if you do think that, be civil. And I'm saying be civil. I don't want any nasty words against him, but go to Twitter and ask him. Why the silence, Cenk? Why are TYT not covering this? Why have TYT ignored the Unity 4J movement? Why aren't they interviewing Elizabeth Lee Voss, who has done fantastic work? Progressives, real progressives, are all over this, all over it. Why aren't TYT? If you ask me, their silence on this matter is deafening. It's up to us to get them to come out and support and tell their 4 million subscribers that this isn't on. Because if they don't do it, as far as a journalistic outfit goes, they're a joke. He said, judge us on our product, on our videos, judge us on what we say, and judge us on our message. Well, if your message is, hey, we don't give a shit about free speech, we don't give a shit about people being tortured just because they published factual documents. Let's not forget that, by the way. They'll jump up and down and talk about Russia and Trump being Putin's poodle all day long. What about the emails that proved the Democrats were rigging their own primary? Now, TYT do talk about that all the time, but they don't concentrate on the emails. Everything was factual in them. We need to get on to them and say, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you covering it? Because if they don't cover it, before he's evicted, by the way, not after, before. Because if they cover it before, there's a chance that we might actually put pressure. There's a chance that enough people will know and get outraged about this and start putting pressure on people. There's a chance they can help. There's a chance that TYT and Cenk Uygur can actually start a movement and get the movement's message out there to more people. So this torture of Julian Assange stops. There's a chance. Time's running out. As you say, Cenk, when you're talking about this Mueller investigation, tick-tock. The clock is ticking right now on Julian Assange. And your silence on it has been absolutely deafening. If you enjoyed this video, please click the bell down there and subscribe so you get a notification of next time I drop a video. Also, I can't do this without your help, so if you can afford it and you enjoy my videos, please support the channel by subscribing to my Patreon. Link is down there. You can do it for as little as $1 a month, and it really does help. If you can't afford it, that's fine. Please share my work and talk to other people about the issues that I bring up. Thanks very much for your support. Until next time, peace and take care.